Oh, hello. You just caught me in my businessy office. Going over doing some business. Ow. Oh, yes. Okay, it is Sunday today, and I'm filming this today, but I'm not only filming this today, I'm filming this at 7:30. So I'm a little late on this one. I had a bit of a debacle with some earlier videos and such. But I'm hopefully going to get back on track here. And, yeah, let's kill it. Hello there, my name is Kirby Groves, and I'm here to report to you on why school sucks. I was not a super great kid in school in my later years. In my earlier years, I was picture perfect little prissy kid. I didn't want to get in trouble. I had a big fear of getting in trouble, of course. But by the end of high school, I didn't really mind that much. I never liked school, even from the beginning, even from the good kid beginning. I didn't really like school a whole ton. And I didn't really know why I didn't like school. I mean, nobody really likes school. I mean, no kids really love elementary, middle, or high school. Not a lot of kids were itching to go back to middle school, you know? Not a lot of kids were itching to wake up really early to go hear a math lecture. So my attitude towards school was definitely a little more negative towards it, even from a good kid Kirby standpoint. It kind of bled into high school when I was just kind of like fed up with it a bit, and I didn't really know why I was fed up with it. I just was. I had like some sort of revelation. I was a really good kid. I was really thoughtful about my prose and like how I interact with people. And then I hit kind of like the sixth grade really time, and I was like, why am I pretending to be an adult when I am a kid, and why don't I take advantage of these years? So I think I was more of a kid from 6th grade to 12th grade than I was from kindergarten to 6th grade. In 9th grade, I had I'm such an idiot. I think it was in 10th grade. In 10th grade, I had a little brown Bluetooth truly wireless thing that they used to sell on like Wish, that they sell on Wish.com and crap like that. I would put that in my ear. I would make sure that I kept it in the same ear. I would try to keep it in the same ear because I told my teachers it was a hearing aid, not a Bluetooth music device. One of my teachers asked me directly, and I just doubled down. I was like, yeah, it's a hearing aid. I can't hear out of this ear. Parent-teacher conferences came along, and my secret was out as soon as one of my teachers asked my mom, "Is that a hearing aid? Is your son impaired?" Yeah, no, I got a good spanking. I got a good spanking for that one. That's a joke. I love you, Mom. I know she did not spank me at 10th grade. In 10th grade in my English class, we had a project that we had to do. We had to do a 15-minute video, and my group, we squeaked out 12 minutes, and we didn't know how to fill that 15-minute gap in the edit. so my friend Liam at the time, who was in my group, he put the whole he put the Star Wars theme for the end and did like the Star Wars credits rollback or whatever. He put the credits in twice so that they would take up extra time, and then it was just a black screen with the Star Wars music. I was very proud of him for that one. That was a funny one. It was a time for sure. High school was a blast. So yes, my attitude towards school was definitely like a little more like, I want to listen to music and I don't really care about this project. And you know, like, why was that the case? Why was I like that? Was I just a crap kid? Yes, I was. But also school sucked, and I had reason to believe that school sucked, and reason to believe that it still does. And I'm not trying to burn bridges with my college. This is just a truth I feel. I'm not trying to burn bridges, I just think you suck. So, okay. I have a really thought out, I've spent a lot of time thinking about this. So, yeah, this is Kirby's take on why school sucks. Let's separate the good from the bad first. Of course, there are redeemable aspects to education. Education as an idea, as a construct, that's not what I'm getting at. I think the way that we do education is the problem. So there are good things a part of the way that we do it now. There are things that we don't want to throw out. The idea of having a base level knowledge, learning like a set level of math and a set level of history and a set level of, English and a set level of whatever else, I don't know, literature. And what is it? Math, science, English, and history, and like geography and stuff like that. I understand, just like as far as like everybody get on the same page in life. You would look like an idiot if somebody asked you, who's the first president of the United States? And you said Abraham Lincoln. Let's all know math. Let's all be able to work on decimals and things like that. My great-grandfather had a funny story about a cashier who had to argue with a customer. He witnessed this. A cashier was arguing with a customer about how change works. Let's all get on the same page. Let's get on the math page, and on the history page, and on the reading and literature and English page and crap like that. Let's get together. We can have our own dialect. We can say things like crap like that. We can all operate on our different levels, but let's try to get on the same page of base level knowledge. So that's worth it. I think that's important. To be at a building, to be at a place with people is a good thing. To get out of the house, to have, especially in your young developing life, and it sucks. We all know it sucks. We all know that high school and middle school and elementary school even are hell for social life. Come on, man. You got to get out there. You got to get out of your room. You got to go talk to people. There are people in this world that exist, and you're not just the one person. So to be able to be a part of a group, a community, that's a good thing. Social aspect of school is a good thing. This one is kind of a mixed bag. Teachers, I'm gonna say net positive. Because I've had some crappy teachers in my life, and I know you have as well. The people that would devote their lives to paying a very low salary in order to teach children things in a very developmental, and especially in middle school, anti-world, anti-everything stage. That's incredibly difficult, and teachers are on the front lines doing really good work. There are bad ones, and there are ones that ruin the good in the teaching community, and I know other teachers know it too. I know other good, thoughtful people will call out a crappy person. That's why it's a mixed bag, but I do not want to throw away the fact that teachers do a public service to humankind. So that is a good piece of school. What do you do with a kid who has nowhere to go? What do you do with a kid who has no social family? What do you do with somebody who has nothing? The idea of having a place for kids to learn who don't have anywhere else to be, who maybe don't have a parental figure in their lives, where do they go? And school is a place for them to go. School is a place for kids to reside while their parents may be working really, really difficult jobs, or may not be a part of their lives. And that's another piece of the teacher's portion. Some teachers act like parents for children. So it's a place for kids to really learn life, So yes, that's a big thing. Something a part of this good section that I want to reiterate, or that I want to identify before I go into the reasons why I think school sucks, and why I think the system that school is built on is a failed system. Don't be like Jake Paul. Don't be like Jake Paul. Why don't you teach us something that we're actually going to use in our lives? You don't know jack shit. Dude, you do not know anything. You don't know what you're talking about, man. You don't. Cody Ko did a freaking brilliant. Cody Ko and Noel did it together. That's cringe. Jake Paul teacher diss track. Pick that crap apart. So funny. Watch that. And pulled out a teacher response diss track that a teacher did to Jake Paul. The teacher brings up legitimate points and Jake Paul doesn't. Get the heck out of existence, Jake Paul. That's a joke. I love you as a brother in Christ. But man, that was such a bad take. That was such a stupid video. Everybody knows it. Don't do that. Don't do what Jake Paul does. And what I think Jake Paul is doing, if we're going to name it, is just say school sucks. Or is just think that school sucks because school just sucks. So it's just a human decency to not do that to anything else as well. Just to say, freaking, this sucks. without a real thought process behind it, just a whatever. There's people a part of this system that are doing good work that you're just going to shut down. That's terrible. That's terrible. Don't do that. You're an idiot. Don't do that. Now I'm going to do that. School sucks. I'm going to pick it apart. Here we go. School has flaws in a lot of different ways. The system that school is built on is really what really what we're getting at. We're not going to think about this baselessly. We're not going to think about this like Jake Paul. We're thinking about the system rather than just maybe the people. Like you have a bad teacher, and stuff like that. I mean, what's the system that keeps the teacher in place rather than saying school sucks because this teacher sucks? We're going at the whole shebang. So there are holes and there's lots of shortcomings in this system that everybody's experienced. So some people benefit from and some people don't. I have learned how to benefit from it. I've learned how to benefit from the system of school rather than learn. I've not learned. I mean, I've learned things, of course, throughout my time at school, but I really have learned how to cheat the system, and that should not be the goal. We're going to split this off into 3 sections, and I'm starting with section 1, of course. That would be content. The content of school. What are we learning? Why am I doing Algebra 2? kind of thing, Boy in a Band, Dave from Boy in a Band, does a really thoughtful, really smart School Never Taught Me Anything song. I forget what that is. It was a really big deal. Go watch that. But the content. Why am I learning Algebra 2 when I should be learning how to do my taxes? I had an experience like that. I did Algebra 2 in 9th grade, and then I did Calculus, or Pre-Calc, in 10th grade, and I could not hack Pre-Calc. I left. I switched classes to Math Studies, was what it was called. In that class, they even had their Math Studies bit and whatever, and I did fine in that class. I got like an A or a B or something like that. And then there was a portion where the teacher himself would decide what should we teach the kids. It was the teacher's prerogative to have an open lesson, or it wasn't, or it was just the teacher making an open lesson, and it was his prerogative to teach us taxes. That is when I learned how to do taxes in school, is not from the school. It was from the teacher's open lesson. That is wrong. That is not supposed to be. Again, the general level of base knowledge that I was talking about earlier, very good thing. Not implemented well at all. Not like, when am I going to use pre-calc in my life? Cue Danny Gonzalez. So base level knowledge let's rework what that is, just as far as content goes. Also, what's important is the amount of base level content that we have to do, which doesn't just tie into what we're learning specifically, but how I spend my time as a person. I'm a person. I may be in 10th grade and I may be a prepubescent person, and I may be learning how to think, but I am still a person, So the fact that I would have to spend 7 hours plus in school and then have homework at home, that's wild. That's crazy. What is free time? Nobody knows. My high school was going to move the clock back. We were going to school at 7. They were going to move the clock forward, to 8:30. So everybody was going to be able to come to school at 8:30. Kids could sleep in better. It's a good idea. Just about every single one of the students I knew was against it. Everybody loves sleeping. What's the disconnect here? None of my fellow students were on board with that because they have after-school crap to do. They realize that, oh shoot, I would rather end my school day at 2 than at 3, because after 3 o'clock I have homework to do and I have soccer practice or whatever. I have this extracurricular event that I'm a part of. I might have a Wednesday night. If you're a religious person, you would have church, or if you're an evangelical person, that was me. I had church on Wednesday nights. Why do we have to do so much? That is crazy, the amount of time that is taken up in a person's day. In the college realm, this problem is less prevalent because college doesn't necessarily need as much tampering with as far as amount of content. It can be a lot sometimes, but I understand that correlates with the fact that you are going into a profession. So take it all. You have to know it all. So I understand that. The content itself does not accurately judge the brain power of a human being. We have this narrow content that I was saying we need to broaden, like do your taxes and also creative work and thinking for yourself. This content does not measure smartness, but is like written out, or education. It's under the banner of education, but does not truly accurately determine a smart person. Think about Calvin from Calvin and Hobbes, especially later in the Calvin and Hobbes lore. A lot of that time is taken up with Calvin poking holes in society, especially with school, because he is a smart, well-spoken, thought-through kid. And of course, we understand that this is written by an adult, creating the brain of a kid. But this is true in so many people. Calvin thinks up so much. He literally has a best friend stuffed animal that feels real to the reader. That is smart. That is thinking outside the box. That's creative. That's fun. Why is that not a part of learning? It's not quantifiable, baby. It doesn't have an X plus Y equals Z. So hands off school, hands off education. It's not actual intellect. That's a type of intellect. So that's something that should be a part of school, is that kind of creative intellect. There's a theologian I love a lot named Greg Boyd. He has a story that he was a high schooler who didn't like school. The only thing that's left for me is sex, drugs, and rock and roll, because nobody like, and I'm lost. I'm not, whatever. The saving grace of his story is that a teacher came to him and said, you think a lot. You think a lot. And you're really smart. So I am going to waive your grade if you go to the library and pick out 3 philosophy books, read them back to front, and then write a book report. Which he said takes him from drugged out stoner kid to, oh, you're a philosopher. Oh, you're a thinker. You have interesting things to say and think, and you pick apart questions that nobody's asking here at school. That's exactly what I'm getting at, as far as there is intellect in school that is being missed. Let's not leave those people out. Let's try to restructure here. And that is the content section of this argument. We will now go to the second category, which I would like to dub as learning. How are students being presented this information? This information that doesn't matter to them. No student, I'm not going to blanket statement this, but the way that school works is that you take orders. You do the work, you turn it in, you get a grade. Nobody is learning how to learn. I just blanket statemented, and I'm sorry. All you're learning how to do is comply. That's all. That's what you're figuring out, is that if I comply, I get a good grade, and then I get to a good college. So students who would step out of line, who may be invigorated by the idea of learning, like Greg Boyd, who may have this philosopher's heart and mind, are treated like criminals. So they're treated as those who would not comply. You would get detention for not doing the work that we give you, because this is what you're supposed to do, and whatever, blah, blah. Also, this is true for students who don't give a flying fart. Not every student is there willing to learn. Like, the immediate idea is to put it on the kid. Like, you're not doing the work, of course you're not going to get a good grade, and of course you're going to get sent to detention because you're mouthing off or talking to people while you're not supposed to be talking. Why would the kid listen to the talking in the first place? Why would the kid want to learn in the first place? What is setting this person up for success? Nothing. You wake up at 7 o'clock, you wake up at 6 o'clock, you wake up at 5 o'clock. And take a carpool for an hour in order to get to a place that you don't care about, learning things that you don't care about, while you're tired as all get out because you just woke up really early for a really long time, for a long 7-8 hour shift, learning multiple different things, like going from hour to hour, getting different homework assignments for every single class, and having to turn in different assignments that you don't care about. What is setting that student up for success? Why would they care? Why should they care? Why don't we make a school that cares? Schools care. Why don't we make a school system that would encourage a person to care? Why don't we wake up at a better time? And of course we can go down the line of everything I just said, but you get the idea. What is setting the student up for success? To learn. Nothing, because they're just being told what to do. If you're just being told what to do, how are you being encouraged to think? You're not being encouraged to think, you're being encouraged to listen. And when you get out into the workforce, it is really beneficial to be to know how to think. Knowing how to listen is important. If your boss tells you to do something, you should do it. That's important. But knowing how to think goes hand in hand. If your boss tells you, let's take the ice. We need more ice for the ice machine. You go over to the ice machine and the bucket is gone. The bucket to fill the ice so that you can put it in the ice bin that he wants you to put it in. The bucket is gone. Somebody who was just told what to do and only knows how to listen would stop there and they would say, oh, I can't do the ice. The bucket's gone. Somebody who knows how to think and will get ahead in life because they know how to think would find the bucket, fill it with ice, do the job. That attitude where you would only listen and just stop at the ice machine, that is being bred in every single child and every single person who comes in and out of a school to just listen and do it. And if it's not your fault if the bucket's gone, you know? And it may not be, but step up. Do your job. You get the idea. I don't think that's on the student. I think that's something that we are programmed to do. We're just programmed to stop at the ice machine. So it takes a lot of personal growth to pull yourself up by your bootstraps and go find that bucket for the ice machine. Go do that. That is the end of the learning section. That's all I got to say about learning. Why? Why do we do it? Why would I go to school anyways? Is it to learn? No. It's to win. Grades are a really big problem. I've found this to be true for myself. I found this to be the main narrative pusher for not learning is grades. Grades are flawed, I think. Grades as an idea are flawed. Evaluation is not flawed. To find where you land is not a bad thing. If somebody teaches you 1 + 2, you would want to know that they know it's 3. Evaluation is not bad. Grades totally mess that up. Grades, and there's a couple reasons for that. Grades are an optional product of evaluation. Evaluation is determining comprehension. That's good. Grades are the butthole of evaluation. What goes behind grades that makes it so difficult what makes it so not beneficial is the weight of the grade and the implementation of said grade. To implement a tier system of a hierarchy of grades, to implement an A through F, to separate the A from the F. F is not comprehended. D is loser got it. Lose sucky idiot got it. and I understand the necessity of knowing if somebody is capable of understanding something more than they are something else, maybe. Like somebody gets A's in English and D's in math, and they would rather, then they know this is important for me to care more about English than the math portion. I understand that. What makes this become a hierarchy is the weight behind it. My future is on the line. I go to a good college if I get an A in English and an A in math. And I'm really good at English, but I'm absolutely jack squat bad at math, right? There is suddenly a hierarchy of students based on intellect that is not true intellect that is not like this evaluation of smart that I was saying before is not a real evaluation of smart, but now somebody is smarter than somebody else at math, English, science, and history, and smarter as in regurgitating. So we're bringing all of this together, and then the D kid is the loser kid who's not smart, who needs special treatment because they're an idiot. That's terrible. To the student that gets a D who really can't get it, his future is on the line. Her future is on the line for crap. This could work for just about anything. I had a class recently where I had a really big problem with this. It wasn't a math, science, history, whatever crap. It was something that I cared about a lot. Something that I wanted to know and wanted to learn, and I was being graded on it for learning. I wanted to learn. I wanted to dive into it, and I wanted to know. And if I didn't know, I would get a bad grade. Isn't the idea of school to be learning? Isn't the idea for me to not be evaluated on something that I don't know yet? Something that I may be told and then I'm trying to put into practice, but I suck at? And then I'm punished for sucking at something? That's mental, as the British say. What am I going to do with this information? What am I going to do now that I know if I get an F on something that I may not even care about, I will not succeed in life? My goal is not to learn anymore. My goal is to win, get a good grade, and that's it. And something interesting, I had teachers in my life who said that they don't like grade grubbers. They don't like people who would just go for the grade and not try to comprehend or go the extra mile. What is school doing to encourage the idea of going the extra mile? All that matters is a grade. Get in, get out, get your A. So I have taken to my life a philosophy of get the A and get the frick out of there. I'm not learning anything here. I may be picking stuff up, but I'm not learning jack squat. All I'm learning is how to get an A, and that's not the point of school. That shouldn't be the point of school. That shouldn't be the point of education. What is encouraging me to actually pick up on knowledge that I don't even care about, that I may not even think is important, because I'd rather be learning about how to do my taxes? So it all goes hand in hand. It's all full circle. It's all whatever, blah, blah, blah. What can we do? Solutions-wise and alternatives-wise is the next portion of this question, the next portion of this discussion. And I don't have one. I don't have a solution. I don't have an idea. I know there's a lot of technology that could really help students in determining comprehension. I know there's a lot of really good thinkers behind this talk, trying to come up with good ways to evaluate comprehension, but also to encourage real learning and encourage the idea of like the benefit of knowledge. I have spent as a student myself most of my thought process and time trying to understand the problem and explain to people that I know the problem and that I believe is there. That's been most of my efforts up until now. And this is where the fun begins. This is only the beginning of the conversation. This is the start of something really big. Kids could learn things that matter and be inclined and be set up for success on how to exist as a human being. So the takeaway, there's a moral here, and I'm going to share it. You will get ahead in life if you stay in school. You will grow to have your own personal opinion on this topic, and you will find that you will meet great people and learn good things in school. I know I have learned good things in school. I have learned good things in school, and I appreciate the time that I had spent, even if I dreaded it to every atom in my body. Let's continue the discussion of how we can make this better, how we can encourage students to learn and to understand the idea of learning. Let's push forward against a system that does not work for everybody. Thank you so much for watching. This is definitely a bit of a last-minute type of situation, something I've been writing out, but late to filming, so late to editing, so we'll see if this gets up on time. I freaking hope it does. If you like my content, I would really appreciate a subscription and a like. Totally up to you. And yes, have a wonderful life. Amen.